So you sign a new content agency or editing client, and then 1 month, 2 months, maximum 3 months later, you are already losing them. And you're in this horrible constant cycle of getting a client which you worked really hard for, you did a lot of outreach for, and then already losing them just a few months later. So you are always fearing where your next client is going to come from just so you can maintain your income. If you're in this cycle right now, I know how it feels and I know how much it sucks. So watch this video until the end, and by the end of it, you will know exactly what you need to do to stop this problem from happening and be able to keep your clients for even years on end, okay? My name is Vince if you're new to the channel, and I've started out as a freelance video editor over 5 years ago at this point, built a 6-figure content agency and helped over a dozen people since then to build their own 6-figure agencies as well. Some of the students that we've worked with have gone on to do 30, 40K a month even, selling editing services. And with my business partner, Greg, you know, the agency that we actively run, or Greg actively runs as well in the program, is doing around 50, 60K a month actively now. So we know a thing or two about getting clients in the content space and then also keeping them. So in this video, I will try to give you as much value as I can around that. So first of all, let's start with this, okay? You are not in the editing business, you are in the business of generating leads for others. Now, this is something that you need to understand, that people are not just paying you necessarily for only the pretty edits that you can provide them. The reason why people will pay you for editing services is because they expect to see an ROI sometime down the road from that high quality branded content that you create for them. So what that means is you want to make sure that you are focusing on positioning your service as a lubricant for sales to happen, okay? Instead of just like this little thing where it's like, okay, I will edit some videos for you. If you do that, if you go like the Fiverr gig approach, then you will forever be stuck as looked at as just an editor, right? Now, if you can get out of that and basically provide like actual value to businesses by helping them find video ideas as well that will get more attention, and helping them with scripting a hook for it, and, you know, doing the editing, like posting it, all the stuff which plays into how much attention that piece of content will actually get. If you can become more like a content specialist, right, or a social media growth specialist, well, then you will be put into a completely different category, because an editor can easily be replaced in the eyes of the client, right? It's just like, okay, I hired this one from Fiverr, I can get another one. But if you're a content specialist, well, then that's a lot different situation. So what you want, again, is you want to position your service as a lubricant for sales. So it's like you want to communicate how the videos, the content, whether it's short form, long form, can help them get more sales, get them more revenue for their business, right? So what you are trying to do here is basically create the association between your service and money in their head. Because until you create that, then your service will be just a nice to have for them. But if you can make it in their brain so that when they think of your service, they are thinking of the ROI that they are making from it, how much more money they make because of you, then it will be also a lot easier to keep your clients, because then they will, you know, think of like what they're actually getting every single month when they are paying you, okay? So that's pretty big. Another quick tip that I didn't put in here is you do want to put your clients on monthly auto billing. It's going to make your retention immediately a lot better, okay? Now, there are some common mistakes in here which I want to talk about, okay? Because if you can identify what makes a client leave, then if you just inverse that, you will be also figure out what makes a client stay, okay? So what I'm going to do, because it's easier to think about what makes a bad editor that people don't want to stick with, or a bad content agency that people don't want to stick with, we will talk about that, and then all you have to do is just inverse these traits, and then you will get what makes a good editor or content agency, which clients will stick with forever, okay? So the first mistakes is not being detail oriented. So what does that mean? If you are sending your client edits or videos or a piece of content, right, that have little mistakes in it, whether that be a spelling mistake, whether that be, you know, a little glitch in the audio, whether that be a bad transition, whatever it is, and they actually have to give you a bunch of notes for every video, that's not being detail oriented. And the reason why it sucks is because although you might think that is the case, that your clients just love giving you a bunch of notes, but in reality they hate it. Your clients don't want to be giving you notes. They don't want to be having to babysit you. And the reason why they have to do it is because you don't pay attention to the details, and you don't pay attention to things like the spelling of every single word in your video and double checking on that. So that's the first mistake I see a lot, is not being detail oriented, putting like too loud music here and there. You know, it's like these there's like 5-6 mistakes that editors just make over and over again, and content agencies just make over and again, which can be so easily avoided, but because you don't give a shit about the details, you just do it over and over again. So that's one reason why clients leave, is because they don't want to put up with that. And it's totally understandable, okay? Then the second reason why clients leave all the time is because of slow or bad communication. So if you're slow to respond, meaning you take days to get back, or even just, 8 hours, 10 hours, that's bad. Like, people will not really appreciate that, because they are paying you at the end of the day. So, if you didn't set expectations in the beginning when you start working with that client that it will take you a long time to respond, then it's totally reasonable for them to, kind of like expect for you to get back quickly. So either set expectations from the get-go if you are going to be slower, or just get back as soon as you see the fucking message, okay? Then the second one is bad communication. This is another big one. So if you see a problem arising beforehand, like a video is not getting done on time, or you need something, right? You're missing something, right? Or whatever, anything that happened, if you don't communicate it clearly and just upfront, and you're trying to make up some bullshit fabricated story like my dog went to the hospital and that's why we wouldn't be able to get you this video, like, people will see through that, and nobody wants to work with liars. Nobody wants to work with dishonest people. So that's a big one. You need to be honest up front, direct, straight up communication. People will much prefer that, even if you are getting them bad news, than if you are just making up like fabricated stories and excuses. And also, you need to be quick, okay? The third mistake that people make all the time in this space is not being proactive, okay? So what do I mean by that? Let's say you are making a long form video for your client, or your editor is making a long form video for them, and there is a part where the client mentions some student results or testimonials from their program, let's say, okay? This is just an example for you, some success stories. You can just simply go on their website and probably find dozens and dozens of those, or if you go on their social media, you can probably find dozens and dozens of those, and just screenshot those and use those in the video, instead of you having to message that client to send you over what he wants to be put in there, right? This is just the principle of being proactive. Instead of you, with every little single problem that you have, going straight to the client and asking them like, oh, what song should I use here? What should I put in here? What should I put there? Blah, 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 blah. All these little details, which they maybe don't even care about. Instead of going to them for everything, just try to be proactive and actually like find solutions before you go to them. And going to the client and asking them should be basically like their last resort, unless they specifically asked for you to like go to them for every little mistake, right? Now, the fourth mistake is only sharing bad news. So I see this all the time as well, where the only time like some editors and content agencies message their clients is when something goes wrong. Like when they aren't able to deliver on a deadline, when a video got flagged, like all sort of bad stuff. And the problem with that is that the association that they are going to then create between your service and what they think about is going to be negative emotions. It's going to be problems. Like, all they are going to think about when they hear your name or your service is all the problems that you are constantly going to them with. So problems happen all the time. It's almost like impossible to not have them. But the important thing here is that you don't want to only communicate bad news. Communicate all the little wins with them as well every single week. If a video did better than usual, communicate that to them. If you got some amazing comments under a video, send them, screenshot some of those comments and send to them like, oh, people are loving this piece of content, right? If you got a good amount of leads from a video, like, communicate that to them. Try to outweigh the negative news with an overwhelming amount of little positives as well, because trust me, no client is going to be like mad at you from sending them some little positive things. As business owners, as founders, People are just facing problems and negative news all the time. So even if it doesn't matter, it's just a comment that you sent them, which was nice, people will appreciate it. It will make their day just a little bit better. Like finally some positive news, right? So communicate good news as well, not only bad ones. Then the fifth mistake is showing no appreciation at all. So your clients, if they are paying you well, should feel also like you appreciate the opportunity for them, right? Like you like that. And this can be something as low as sending them a voice message of like, you know, hey, I really appreciate you being a client and it's been amazing working with you. Or even just like wishing them happy birthday on their birthday or stuff like that. Or even buying them like a book that you think they would appreciate, you know, and sending that to their address that cost you like 20 bucks. Right? And it means a lot. Like nobody does that, okay? One of my students, Henry, who was able to go from literally like, you know, making like 1K a month to 8K in like 3 months, what he did was he actually sent out some custom hoodies with his like agency logo to his client, which I think was a super cool idea. So here it is, right? Here's Henry sending some hoodies to his actual clients. And that's just like an amazing, nice, you know, act. And I can guarantee you that those clients are going to stay with him a lot longer because of that little, you know, thing that he did for them, okay? Now, the sixth mistake people make is pricing their initial services too low. Now, the reason why this is a mistake is you might think like, okay, but wouldn't my client want the best pricing possible? Well, the answer is no, if it means that you won't care enough, right? So a lot of people make these mistakes where they just want to close that deal. So they are willing to drop their price really low to the point where it's like barely even worth it to them. And what that is going to cause is it will make you lazy. It will make you not want to prioritize that client over others because you know you're not getting paid as much as you want. So if you want the best for your clients, what you want to actually do is price your services really fairly or like price them, you know, quite expensive so that you will be actually super motivated to deliver the best results possible for them because you know you are getting compensated well for it, right? So it's another mistake is like pricing your services too low from the get-go so you're not even motivated to do the work. Then the seventh one is lack of innovation and just being complacent. So what do I mean by this? Well, if you got to a style with the video edits and then you stick with that for a year and you never make any little changes, you never introduce any little improvements for your clients, well, that's going to lead to them feeling like you got complacent because you did, right? And that's not a attractive trait at all in any sort of like service provider. So you want to make sure to constantly every month at least try to bring in some new fresh creative ideas into the service that you are providing, whether it's on the editing side or even just like communication or creating a new like Google sheet for them where you are tracking the results and you know whatever, just try to innovate and make the service more effective every single month. Then the eighth mistake I see is having no personal growth or drive. Now you might be wondering like, what does personal growth have to do with, you know, my clients leaving me? Like me hitting the gym, waking up on time, being disciplined, trying to actively self-improve. What does that have to do with my clients leaving me? Well, it's simple. Nobody likes working with boring or lame people. If you are someone, and I know like lame is a hard or harsh term, but I have no better way to put it. If you're someone who just stays in your room all day long, you have like nothing going for you outside of work, you're not working out, you don't have any hobbies, you're not doing like anything, you're not like actively learning things, right? You're not improving, even if you just have a hobby, like you enjoy golfing or whatever, and you learn a lot about that, something you can be enthusiastic about. If you're not building these like different layers of your character, you are just super one-dimensional, you are, you know, all you do is you know how to make some content, but you are, you know, not physically exercising, you're not eating well, you're not taking care of yourself, you don't have good habits, you have zero hobbies, right? If you are overall not like a fun person to be around, then people won't like working with you. And that alone can be eventually a reason for them to stop working with you, because if when they get on a Zoom call with you, they just feel like lower energy than before, who wants to work with someone like that? So it's important that you respect yourself enough to actually focus on your own personal growth as well. Focus on your daily habits, focus on improving your health, your wealth, your relationship, all of that stuff, because that will also reflect in how much people like being around with you or around you, right? And the thing is, being liked is over half of the battle. Like, people don't get this, but if you just become good at socializing with people, making people like and ideally even respect you for who you are and what you do, right? That's half of the battle won. If they really respect you, because for example, you've ran a marathon and that's something everybody can respect, right? Then they will not leave you for someone else that they don't feel as much connection with, right? If they become pretty much like your friends because they really, they like you, they think you're a fun guy, they think you have amazing work, and they can respect you as well for your character traits and who you are, they're not going to leave you for someone else, even if they offer a slightly lower price, okay? Now, I just want to emphasize this again, that if you have been experiencing losing clients very early on, this is a problem you need to fix. You cannot afford not to fix this because churn is killing your business. And churn is basically just like the number of clients or percent of clients leaving every month, right? If you don't fix churn, you will forever be stuck in this like horrible cycle. And trust me, it's not where you want to stay. Like, whether you're an editor or a content agency owner and you're stuck under 10K a month, I can tell you that life is much more fun once you get out of this prison of getting clients, losing them, selling them at low ticket prices. It's not fun. It's not a fun existence. Like, you will have way more freedom. You will have way more options once you can break out of that prison. And the way you fix churn is if you think about your business as a bucket. Right now, every one of these little holes, it's supposed to, represent like a leak in your bucket. You have all these different places where the clients are escaping from your system, right? So it doesn't matter if you feed a bunch of clients in here at the top. If you have all these different leaks where the clients are leaving, you will be forever pouring into a leaky bucket. So instead of necessarily just increasing the volume of clients that come in, you also want to be fixing the leaks here first, because otherwise, again, like, it doesn't matter how much water you pour into a leaky bucket, it will always escape. So every one of these little mistakes here that are very common amongst people are a leak on your bucket right now. So you need to focus not only on getting more clients, like that is super important. And if you are not getting at least like 5 meetings like every week or so that are like qualified meetings, like, you should focus on that too. But you also need to fix these leaks first, so that then once you put more clients in through the top, you can actually retain them and start growing your revenue to those marks that you want, whether it's 10K, 20K, 30K, 50K a month, right? So that's pretty much it. I really hope you enjoyed. If you do want to know more about how we can actually help you to scale to those numbers that I just mentioned with the content agency and how we've been able to do it for dozens and dozens of people, you can click the link in the description if you want and find out more about what we do. But if not, no worries at all. I really hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one.